Hi, welcome to our series, El Básico con Sabor, adding flavor to the 8-count basic. Argentina here with the game of Argentine Tango.
So often, newer dancers feel sometimes confined, like they're stuck in the 8-count basic because it's the one pattern they know really well, and maybe they're thinking about what am I going to do next, and inevitably they just kind of feel like once they start the 8-count, they just have to stay in it until it's done. And this whole series is about how we can break out of the 8-count, add flavor, make it more musical and rhythmical.
Oh, it's nice taking something we know, a pattern, and being able to reconfigure it to squeeze more juice out of it,
Or flavor.
or flavor out of it.
Right.
And so that's something to keep in mind as you learn other patterns. How can I change this? Can we do it in a different way that makes it more flavorful?
Exactly. Today we are exploring how we can use the idea of repeating an element to change up our 8-count basic. Something very simple can turn into something completely different. It's nice. Starting off. Of course, we all know that the typical 8-count basic starts off with either just a weight change, as most dancers choose to dance it.
Right, rather than a step backwards. So, and that can be repeated as well. So, is my partner moving with me? Am I moving with the music? Are we ready to go?
Yes. And in fact, recommended that you do a few of these on repeat to get all of those connections that Arjun was just talking about. And maybe you've done a few repeating weight changes and the space behind you is still, or in front of you is still not open, or we're still having to wait, for a couple to get their connection.
Right. It can feel a little tedious, maybe, if I'm just constantly doing this. So let's add some flavor to the weight change.
Exactly.
We could open it up for a moment, and even with, although in tango we often talk about close those legs, bring those legs together. There are times when we can lower into the floor to keep those legs open to add some kind of flavor.
Right, allow that partner of yours to play. It's also a great way to immediately connect with what the music's doing. Maybe the music's not saying sit there and bounce back and forth. Right? Maybe it's a dramatic Pugliese that you're getting, all of this lyrical stuff. Pick something, work on how to make just simply connecting with your partner more musical just within that. It goes a long way. Okay, we've repeated one.
So, step number 2 would be our open step to get into position, our right outside position with our partner.
Yes.
And again, that's similar to what we showed with the weight change. That could be repeated.
We also can use the opportunity to incorporate some weight changes and create chasses right there. And we are repeating that second position. So we can create those chasses circularly if we are unable to go anywhere. The leader can create a nice chasse moment around the follower. If we are oriented properly, we can also take this chasse as traveling movement, the two of us. You can make that very rhythmical, you can make it very lyrical, but by just simply repeating that open element that we have right at the beginning, you can create something else entirely different right off the bat.
And now we're in a position to take our third step and start a couple of walking steps.
But before, we can use the idea of repeating in reverse. This little check motion that can send us right back to where we came from can also be a very fun little element, and all you're doing is just kind of almost rewinding.
Right, and that uses that basic principle that we've talked about. We can always continue what we're doing, we can take back what we just did, or we can do something different.
Yes, exactly. So if we're looking for opportunities, take 1 or 2, maybe 3 steps of a movement, and then just rewind it and see what happens. It can be fun exploring it. So, but if we do want to continue with our third step, if this is new information, we want to make sure that everybody has it. You can always feel free to continue the walk for as long as you want to. So we can feel free, again, seems very basic, but we want to make sure that everybody has heard this information. Feel free to repeat that walk as much as you need.
Now, if we keep our outside position, it's important to keep the dissociation with each other, because otherwise our partner will be
trying to cruzada. Yes, exactly.
And that's important for students who learn the 8-count basic as, it's automatic cross on step number 5. No, it's led.
It is led, yes. It might be very subtle and it might be just in the moment, but it should always be led. It should never be just flat out assumed.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if we step to outside position, we can always come back to repeat our walk and then take a slightly wider step at any point to begin the cruzada.
So if you do choose to continue to repeat your walk for a while, remember that you always have the opportunity to walk in line, walk left outside partner, and also walk right outside partner within the walk itself.
And a little editorial comment, tango is a walking dance. I mean, we use that walking quality even when we're doing figures around each other. And I just love it. If you've got the space, walking can be very elegant and meaningful.
Exactly. So feel free to keep that feeling and not feel like you always have to do cruzada and then tango close. Just
it's not trick. It's relating to each other in the music.
Exactly. So feel free to repeat that walk as much as you like. We also have the option of adding the additional weight change like we did with our side chasses, and we can create those walking steps as forward and backwards chasses.
And now if I'm on the other side,
exactly. So taking that same idea as the side, we can take that forward, and then we can also use the idea of a repeating cunita within the walk as well. So even taking the idea of repeating the walk, we can add an additional repeat to flavor that walk even more within the basic. Yes, nice. Another fun element is repeating the cruzada. This is one of my personal favorite ones for instantly kind of jazzing up that basic step. So as it sounds, we're gonna head up to the cruzada. Arjun is going to keep this orientation to tell me that we are going to continue that cruzada.
I don't know if you noticed, there's kind of a driving element that helps keep us in the configuration that will produce a cruzada again.
Correct. It feels like a pulse, but more importantly, it feels different than just doing the cruzada and walking out of it. We don't want to send the signal that makes it feel like everything else and then all of a sudden decide to change your minds. We want to make sure that we are almost telegraphing the fact that this will be a different ending ahead of time, so that way we can communicate clearly with each other. Yeah. So repeating the cruzada in its normal form is very fun. What's also very fun, one of Arjun's favorites, is if we are in a leader backing line of dance, we can create a nice repeating cruzada with the leader getting an opportunity to show off your cruzada skills. And just like we talked about, notice that Arjun kept the orientation and the dissociation through the body to maintain that position, to clearly communicate that we were going to keep doing it. It's fun. And if you need tips or tricks on how to get yourself reoriented, check out our previous video where we looked at how to redirect every single step of the basic, and that will get you turned around in whatever direction you like.
Now, one little technique element I will add on that. In order to get the cross, when I want to orient myself such that this leg comes past the other leg, that it kind of produces an interrupt.
Yes, yes, that angle helps.
Yeah, if I just turn here and step straight back, it's really tough to produce the cross that way.
And that cross happening that way takes you out of alignment.
Out of the line.
So yeah, making that adjustment will help keep you actually traveling down the line of dance. Nice. Okay, so we have the cruzada.
And now we're getting to the resolution, which an interesting idea is that we can repeat chunks.
Yes, yes. So just a little kind of a slant of the observation of a tango close, the resolution, is it's forward side together, right? Well, if we do that same thing and we just go back side together, now all of a sudden we've turned it into a lovely repeating element that is really just based off of the resolution.
And by the way, this is a figure that is specifically taught and used in the vals because you've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. But just like anything else, we can steal it for tango and use it for our purposes as well. So yes, the idea of taking that whole chunk. Also, we have a lovely open step, step number 7 in our resolution that we can repeat and play with as well. And we're out. So adding that, if you really want to get fancy, there's always the option of adding a parada that moves back and forth as we are changing weight, if you want to add some additional fanciness. So we encourage you to take a look at things that might look very basic, very routine, and how can simple little things like repeating the element change it up.
It's a great technique to expand, to multiply what we've learned.
And that we are all about that, because nobody wants to memorize 1,000 patterns and then get onto the dance floor and have them all fly out of your memory. So we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, abrazos.
En el naipe del vivir suelo acertar la carta de la boca y a mi lado oigo decir que es porque estoy con una suerte loca. Al saber le llaman suerte, yo aprendí viendo trampearme y ahora solo han de coparme cuando banquen con la muerte. En el naipe del vivir, para ganar, primero perdí, yo también entré a jugar, confiado en la ceguera del azar. Y luego vi que todo era mentir y el capital en manos del más vil. No me crees, te pierde el corazón. ¿Qué fe tenés? ¿No ves que no acertar? Que si apuntas a cartas de ilusión, son de dolor las cartas que se dan.